Do you use Alexa? Do you use Gmail? Do you use any of these services?
I do. I'm sort of professionally obliged to. But our family has, I would say Alexa is our main device at home. And Alexa understands our daughter, Veronica, and me 90% of the time, pretty good. And it understands my wife, Liza, never. Right? And then we've hooked it up to the lights so that in the morning she'll work, Alexa, turn the lamps on. And it will be like, playing Christian children's music. And she's like, yeah! And then I'll say, turn it on, and she's like, oh, your girlfriend is, it's like listening to you. And so now it's this awkward thing where neither Veronica nor I feel comfortable talking to Alexa in front of her. It's this unwelcome kind of person there. But so it goes to this sort of problem around some of the speech stuff that is imperfect and incredibly frustrating. A system that is designed strictly around the idea of understanding your speech that does not understand speech is crazy making. Right? But also gets at this idea of like now that we're starting to have these personalities in our house that are machine-generated personalities, machine-generated interactions, we're also in this case where it actually changes social dynamic. Like my wife gets angry at me for talking to this little tower of plastic, right? And I'm just trying to turn the lights on for her, right? Anyway, it complicates things when these things now move off of our screens and into our living rooms.
Great talk. I really like how you spoke about honest interfaces and being kind to one another. I've been looking into blockchain for a bit and just how blockchain does create like this network of trust and maintain the integrity of your data. So how do you think blockchain figures into what we've been talking about?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Blockchain, you guys have probably heard a lot about it. It's a really complicated thing to understand. It's basically a bunch of math that says you are who you say you are. Your data is encrypted in this way. There's sort of a thing of sort of like through this impenetrable math encryption. See, I already don't even know what I'm talking about. Sort of keeps this thing of sort of like these guarantees, And so I think that in the same way that the engineers have shown us all the possibilities of the algorithm, they've also kind of given us this structure upon which we can build trust, or at least know that communications are coming from a certain place, that people are who they say they are, that this transmission is safe, that this information is true. I think that doesn't still fix this idea of presentation, because blockchain is enormously complicated. How do we make that complexity uncomplicated for use without making it so simple that it becomes simplistic? So it's this idea of presentation again, of trust. How much can you trust the system? How do you signal that this is trustworthy versus this other thing that looks entirely the same that is not based on a blockchain kind of thing? So I think that with both of these cases, the distinction that I would make is that we're making extraordinary breakthroughs on technology, and the design and presentation around them has not yet caught up because we're still designing for paths through information in an old school way.
Fabulous and fascinating.
Thank you.
You mentioned speaking with Facebook, who clearly, if you're paying attention, is as much as they've become in our life as Alexa, they've become an appendage of all of us. What is your gut telling you that they're going to be able to do to include this when they've been so responsible for that bottom line piece of owning our data and owning us for profit as well? We're at the precipice of this right now. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'm just curious of your take.
It's a great question, and I think that Facebook may be irredeemable. I think that they...
Not the answer I want.
And the reason is because their business model is about engagement, and it's so cooked down into them. And I would say cooked into all of us, in part because of their influence and also through the Instagrams of the world, that all of us now personally believe that the things that we create are only of worth when we get engagement from others, right? So it's like this is a cultural problem that they've in part helped to create. But for them, this is also billions of dollars in this idea of if I can just give you anything that you will stay for, then that is going to take top priority. It seems unlikely that they're going to be able to change that mindset. Although I think that there are, as in all companies, pockets of people who care passionately about trying to do that, or are asking, can we still get people to have that same level of engagement while giving them healthier content? And that's not clear. It's like I will eat a lot more Cheetos than Brussels sprouts. because Cheetos are more delicious. So it's like they're going to give me the more unhealthy Cheetos information. I'm probably going to go for that. I'm sorry. I do love the Brussels sprouts in concept, but not actually in action. So I think that the real open question is will they be able to do that? They've recently made a shift, so it's going to be like there's going to be less news in your news feed and more, pets and babies and personal news and the stuff that Facebook used to be. And we'll see if that actually sort of gets them the numbers that they want. If it doesn't, then I think that they're lost. That we're going to continue to have all kinds of bad things, as well as personally unhealthy, mentally unhealthy patterns to the way that we use those systems. So I'm not very optimistic about Facebook. What I am optimistic about is how might we think about alternatives to that kind of packaged food, junk food model that will still yield good business decisions. Because I think it's hard to change when it's like that cooked into their both business model and our culture.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Thank all of you.